If SAP or a big ERP is forcing you to upgrade or migrate, or they're sunsetting your current application you've been running for 20 plus years, or maybe just your ERP doesn't exactly fit your workflow, there's a third option that nobody's quoting you on, that many aren't considering. But this option allows you to actually have a system, have an ERP that is fully customized to how your business operates, and you fully own it instead of renting something that doesn't quite do the job. You see, I meet with business owners and operators in logistics, manufacturing, construction every week, and it's become less of an anecdote and more of something I'm really concerned about and how to make a video about. Now, transparency, you do not have to hire us. This is, even if you have development staff in-house or you have a tech team that you support, this is something that you have to seriously consider whether or not you ever talk to us or consider hiring us. Because here's the trap that most people feel like they're in right now, and maybe that's you, is you've been running the same software, the same ERP for 20 plus years and everything is fine. And all of a sudden, SAP or one of the big box ERPs is saying, we're sunsetting this software and you have to migrate. So there's either one or two options. You either chattel and belong your current ERP and just hope that the not supporting it is just kind of vague threats, or you take the leap and you spend, if you're a medium-sized business, somewhere between $500,000 to $2 million just for implementation alone to migrate over to that new solution. Then you're potentially spending another $70,000 to $200,000 a year in annual licenses forever for something that you never own, for most of you that you feel like it doesn't quite do everything that you would hope to. Maybe it does 80%, but there's a big 20% of that ERP or software that doesn't quite fit how your business is unique. And that quote around implementation is just assuming that everything goes perfectly, but most of these time they go over scope, over budget, over schedule. And sometimes I speak to some distribution or manufacturing businesses where they pay for implementation and then they go through 3 or 4 different VARs of $60,000 to $70,000 each, trying to find someone competent who can actually help configure or reconfigure the ERP to how they hoped it would operate. So you're paying enterprise money, taking on enterprising risk to rent a system that won't exactly fit to how your business is unique. And none of the VARs are going to mention this other option because they get paid on the migration. So it's a perverse incentive, meaning that, if they drag out the migration and they drag out this implementation, then they get paid more. So why would they say anything differently? But what the third option does allows you to keep what's standard, the 80% of your business that's normal, like accounting for most of you, and allow you to take the 20% that's truly unique or that's frustrating in your business that your current ERP isn't solving, and allows you to not have this huge, scary cutover and migration from one ERP to the next, but allows you to actually build something potentially to solve for that 20% of what makes your business unique or what your ERP currently isn't handling, and allows you to cover that rest of what's missing and potentially allow you to set a foundation where you could build a fully custom solution little by little without disrupting the business at all. So I'm Jay Keynes. I run a software company out of Nashville, Tennessee, where this is our day job. We meet and specialize with construction, manufacturing, distribution, and logistics companies and help them get out of legacy systems. And a lot of those times, it's legacy ERPs that just don't quite do the job, or building alongside ERPs so that they can compensate for what is missing. And we're doing this right now for a distributor whose entire business runs on a legacy system, rebuilding it one module at a time so the business stays online and nothing gets disrupted and there's no huge migration. So this is the same playbook, whether it is a legacy system or an ERP that you're not sure if you should migrate away from. You can do this in a way that doesn't disrupt business, that adds value to the business quickly, and doesn't require this harsh transition in 2 to 3 years of your time waiting to get this implemented. So again, if you're in that situation and you feel like, well, I'm kind of forced to upgrade because I want to make sure that this goes on for the next 10, 15 years and it's not disrupted, then I totally understand that. But I just want you to consider what this third option is, because even if you don't ever work with us or ever speak to us, my biggest fear is that some of you out there are in this situation where you feel like you have to upgrade, that you have to migrate. And I'm afraid that you're going to spend a few $1 million over the next 10 to 15 years through implementation and annual licenses. And then unfortunately, you're going to get to a place where after 10 to 15 years, you feel like you transition from one ERP that didn't quite fit your needs to another ERP that didn't quite fit your needs. And still, you're stuck because you have the sunk cost millions of dollars over the course of the next 10 to 15 years. I want you to at least define if this is a viable option. And if so, how should you think about this to actually get this started? And a third option is building some kind of custom software. Maybe that is eventually to replace your ERP, or maybe it is just a little part of your business and a small application. But either way, what you have to consider the reality of what software development in 2026 is like is the check that you're about to write to rent SAP and implement it is almost certainly enough to build something on your own. This means that you build custom once, maybe you iterate it as it grows, but that's only if you want to. Then you're done paying the rent. And the software is shaped to how you actually operate and the uniqueness to your flow. And the cost of custom software, especially if you have a tech person that you trust, who hopefully he or she is senior and is utilizing AI, to where that cost has dropped so much for mid-sized businesses that these big box ERPs are starting to look less irrelevant. And maybe for you, maybe it isn't fully replacing the ERP. For some people, it is, and that's what they desire. For some, it might be just, let's build what the gaps are. And that's the best place for you to be, is maybe let's just keep what we have and build what's unique and use the custom software as a way to tie all of our tools together and to build something that makes up for the lack of what the ERP isn't doing. Now, I understand that you probably have the objection that, well, building custom is this huge, scary, multi-year project. Well, for one, so is a SAP migration. But for two, it doesn't have to be a hard switchover, because we do this every single day for clients in these industries. Is we usually start with your worst pain or whatever is missing the most to build that custom piece of software, usually within 3 to 4 months, that built the foundation. And maybe for our clients, we say, all right, let's just stick with this here and let's tie the systems together and let this be kind of the single source of truth that compensates for what your current setup isn't doing. Or what most people do is they see the possibilities of custom software and maybe they want to replace their ERP. So module after module, we pull modules out of the ERP to eventually phase out that software or that ERP that they want to get rid of anyway. And the great thing about that is you're getting value in the business after 3 or 4 months instead of waiting for years. There's no huge switchover that, you pray nothing's broken on the back end and you've thought everything through and that everyone's trained. And in addition, it allows you to continue to iterate on it. No one's forcing you to build. People only build when they continue to see value out of it. So again, they usually come to us for 3 reasons. One, it's to build a fully custom ERP replacement. Totally fine. Sometimes it's just building a single source of truth, meaning there's things that their current setup or systems or ERP doesn't do. And maybe they're running 10 or 11 different tools. They're copy pasting things between. And we can build that custom solution. You can build that custom solution that ties everything together so that it becomes the one single source of truth that things flow in and out of, to where you have to do less of the copy pasting from window to window. And sometimes it's building a foundation of just starting with something that the ERP is missing and then getting it quick wins, getting the ROI going in the business, and then pulling more out of the ERP little by little until it's eventually gone. So it's the same method in different scale, whether that be outdated SAP or it's a old application in your business that your business is relying on. It's the same kind of workflow to ensure that either way you get value out of the application that you're building near immediately, as well as not having this huge, scary cutover. So if you're trying to understand whether or not a standard ERP is worth it, it's pretty simple. Maybe SAP is the right answer for you. So I'm not trying to scare you all away. But if your business is genuinely standard, meaning accounting and everything that the SAP holds is standard to how we operate, then off the shelf is almost certainly the best path for you. But for everyone else, what scares me the most is that you'll make this 10-year decision not knowing that this is even an option, not because you actually considered it and it didn't make sense, but because you never knew it existed at all. And for a lot of people, that's a very compelling message, that you own the build. It fits to how your business operates. You're not renting anything from anybody. It makes your operations more efficient and makes your business more profitable. it makes your business, if you have intellectual property that's unique to your own business, it makes it even more valuable if you decide to sell. But that's under the assumption that your business is unique enough to justify where the ERP or the software that you have today just can't fit. And you're continually trying to build these workflows and band-aids to compensate for something that's not working. So again, you'll know if you're one of those people, right? It's the copy pasting from window to window to window. It's this inefficient workflow where you have to export from this thing, put it into an Excel, and then upload it into this, and then pull it out of this reporting just to do your workflow, right? That's where these inefficiencies really provide you a lot of ROI to really consider custom software. So again, before you really sign on the dotted line for these ERPs, you have to consider this option. And either one, you already have a developer in-house, or you have a trusted tech person that you can lean on. Go to them first. Hand this to them, this idea. And a senior developer who knows your business is the most underutilized asset in your business, because they can tell you if this is viable. You don't need me. You don't need us. You don't need an agency. You don't maybe even need a SAP. They might be able to look at your situation and go, okay, I see what the low-hanging fruit here is, or I see where our opportunity is. And let's build that in the next, 3 to 4 months, or let's say 6 months, and then let's test it. And the good news is that's a really good stopgap to where if eventually it doesn't work and you get rid of it, at least you didn't spend years and millions of dollars doing so. You can test the viability of this very quickly. And if it goes well, then you can continue development and add in resources if you need to eventually phase out the old ERP to where instead of feeling like you have to force an upgrade or you have to migrate, that you have this third option instead. Or maybe you don't have anyone that's a trusted tech person and you're not sure where to start. If you like, you can book a call with me directly because we do this as a day job. We offer a free consultation where we can take a look at your current setup and suggest, hey, does custom make sense? If it doesn't make sense, then we'll tell you. If we find something off the shelf that maybe you just didn't even find, we'll tell you that as well. It costs nothing. There's no sales pitch. You're not obligated to anything. You'll find the booking link below. So again, I hope that my earnestness is coming through this video, because I'm not just looking for you to book a call with me or to bring you on as a client, but legitimately every month that goes by, it makes me more concerned because I'm hearing more of these stories of people who feel like that they have to migrate or they have to spend another 7 figures in a tool that ultimately they don't like, ultimately doesn't fit exactly how their business operates. And so I just want you to at least consider the viability of custom software. If at very least you consider it and see it's not viable, then hey, at least you didn't make the wrong decision for the next 10 years. But for those who don't consider it, I'm afraid you're making a decades-long decision that's relatively irreversible. My name is Jake Haynes. I'm the co-founder of Pilot West Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you so much for watching.